Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the 2023 MLB Trade Deadline stream on Sorgy Stories. I'm Anthony, joining you from the Sorgy Sports Studios in Philadelphia, and we are starting the show off with some news that has just come in from reporters. First reported by John Morosi. The Tigers are close to trading Michael Lorenzen to the Philadelphia Phillies. That was 4 minutes ago. It has also been confirmed by John Heyman. So big news there for the Phillies trying to add another arm. Let's see who is in the comment section so far. We got Baseball Road Tripper saying that he will be traded to a contender. We have John Jansen saying, don't like this. The Cardinals are trading. Magic Man saying, I'm all for a trade, as in trading the Brewers for an NHL team. I don't know how I feel about that. Then we have ELS Train Tuber saying hello. And yeah, Baseball Road Tripper, big move for the Phillies if they can get this done. And also now we have John Heyman saying the Mets still working on deals after Verlander. Tommy Pham, Brooks Raley, and Omar Narvaez could all be on the move. Brooks Raley was discussed going to the Cubs just a few minutes ago. So who knows what happens there? I'm going to start by asking everyone a question who's in the comments. Who will be traded at the deadline who hasn't been yet? Who's your one pick? Who's your splash of the deadline as well? As who do you think is going to be traded, and who do you think and who's the biggest splash of the deadline? Make sure to also comment in our poll, asking everyone who they who's the biggest beneficiary of the deadline. And yeah, so we should have people joining us soon. I'm waiting on a couple of friends to pop in. So yeah, I guess we'll just go ahead and get into the deals that have happened already. If I can pull these up, as I'll be flipping between the MLB.com and Twitter, seeing who's being traded. Magic Man, Yelich, Magic Man, Christian Yelich has had a great year for the Brewers. I mean, statistically, he's been a great bat. I'm pretty happy with him this year. I'd love to see Josh Hader get traded to Milwaukee, but it seems like the Padres are buying at the deadline instead of selling. And Nick says, I really want Lorenzen. I do too, Nick. It would be great to have him in the Phillies pinstripes. Baseball Road Trooper says Twins almost certainly have to get some value from their starting pitching depth. Maeda/Grayna under control after 23, and some outfielders in St. Paul. Yeah, the Twins have to do something at the deadline if they want to make a run in October. So the most recent deal that has gone through, we have Justin Verlander heading back to Houston in return for Drew Gilbert and Ryan Clifford. It's an interesting deal for the Astros, as I think they needed to do something at the deadline if they wanted any chance at going to their 7th straight ALCS. So yeah, Happy Hodag saying greetings from Green Bay. ELS, yeah, the Brewers do need a pitcher. Earlier of the weekend, we did hear that the Brewers were interested in Eloy Jimenez, as were the Marlins. Nothing has came out of that. Obviously, Mark Canha and Carlos Santana, both decent pickups. Santana better than Canha, in my opinion. So yeah, Anthony Chimino saying, what's up? Magic Man saying the Brewers should be sellers at this point. The Brave series showed that the Brewers aren't a contender. Magic Man, I don't know. I don't know, man. We're not a World Series contender. I feel like the Braves have the NL almost locked up. They're just so incredible. Um, but the Brewers can for sure win the division. I think that they have the best chance of winning the division. When you look at everyone's schedules in the division, the Brewers look the best out of them all. So yeah, Brandon Woodruff, Wade Miley coming back soon. Rowdy Tellez hopefully back soon as well. It should be good for the Brewers. Um, Baseball Roach Nebraska, who's going to make the Photoshop? I don't think they need one. Um, and also we have John Jansen saying "Go Cardinals." Yeah, go Brewers. Oh, go Brewers. Okay. The Phillies can't be done. Lorenzen can't be it. A right-handed batter is needed. Hernandez is going to be traded. Phillies could try for him, and Adam Duvall is an option. Yeah, I mean the Phillies do need an outfield bat if they really want to make a push in the postseason. It would make sense to do that. Um, Other deals we've had, Padres are going to get Rich Hill as well as a former Brewer, G-Man Choi from the Pirates, in return for some prospects. Decent move for the Padres. They're still not going to make the playoffs. Blue Jays getting Paul DeYoung for Matt Svanson. Also, the Blue Jays getting cash in that deal. I like it for the Blue Jays. No Bichette for a while. I like the I really like that move. Then the Rockies got Justin Brule from the Dodgers for cash. Not much to talk about there. Braves getting Brad Hand, who is now the first player in MLB history to play for all NL East teams. That deal, the Rockies got Alec Barger. Baseball Road Tripper saying neither Central team has a contender, or neither Central division has a single contender. Someone has to win the division and show up in the playoffs. So I'd rather Twins reload and cut ties. 2023 isn't their year. Yeah, I mean the Brewers. This team has something special, but I'd rather them. I mean, once we get Jackson Chourio up, I think it'll be better. We're not losing much at the end of the year, so I feel like next year we have a better chance at winning something than this year. Um, John Montgomery was a Cardinals' best pitcher. Hicks was a good closer. Both are gone now. It's baseball, man. I mean, it's smart for the Cardinals at this point because, well, I mean, what were you gonna do with them? Like the Cardinals aren't just they aren't a good team. They just aren't. I hate to say that, but they're not. And Anthony says the Guardians have gotten rid of some good players, and I still don't know if I like those trades or not. I wouldn't. Syndergaard. Uh, I mean, Syndergaard is he's okay. And then yeah, I don't know. I feel like you gave up more than you got back. As we are just going to check to see if any new deals have gone through. And Todd Zalecki, reporter in Philly for MLB.com, saying that, well, Phillies have officially gotten Michael Lorenzen from the Tigers. That is phenomenal. So, yeah, and I think that's about it, as we will have someone joining us in a very quick minute. They just need the link from me. Okay. Um, Baseball Richard was saying, Nick, how many years is the Phillies window, and which big splash do you want them to make? John, I know, but I mean, when you're a bad team, what like I mean, you don't need anything when you're a bad team. Really, because I mean, you're giving up guys that aren't going to be on your team forever. They didn't have long term deals, so it made sense for the Cardinals to do it. I'd agree with Nick. 2 to 3 years sounds about right. We do have Bruce Levine from Chicago, 670 the score, also a contributor for the Marquee Sports Network, saying that many clubs are interested in David Bednar in Pittsburgh. It would take a lot for the Pirates to move him, but teams are looking into it. How Yu Lee is heading to the Tigers as part of that deal. I hope I said his name right. So that's not a bad trade for the Phillies when you look at it. Um, and yeah, so we are still here talking about the deadline. 10 minutes in. Other trades, we have the Rays getting Adrian Sampson and Manuel Rodriguez in return for Josh Roberson, who is the Rays get two pitchers, the Cubs get a pitcher in that deal. Magic Man saying Oakland should just release everyone and let the league sign the players. Yeah, yeah, sadly, Magic Man, sadly. Royals getting pitcher Tucker Davidson from the Angels for cash. Former Brewer was on the move yesterday. Third baseman Jace Peterson heading to the desert in return for Chad Patrick, who is a double A pitcher. Yep, Nick, I 100% agree. Stott's going to be there for a long, long time. Yeah, Barner, he really would. It would not shock me at all if he gets now, as we are now joined by, yes, you're about to hear this, a Cubs fan, the football expert is with us now, talking about the deadline. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How about yourself?
Good. Just talking about these deals. Obviously, a lot happening, a lot of moving parts. Phillies just made a big deal. So yeah.
What was the Phillies deal? I haven't seen the Phillies deal. I did see the Verlander to the to the Astros, but
Michael Lorenzen is heading to Philadelphia in return for a prospect.
okay.
So really good move for the Phillies, adding a good pitcher there. I was just talking about the Cubs moves. What have you thought about what your Wrigleyville squad has done so far?
So far, not terrible. I'm happy with the Jeimer Candelario pickup specifically. Obviously, Jeimer was a former Cub, so that definitely was some mixed feelings there that you had just traded him, or not just, but you traded him and now you're trading for him. But the pieces that we gave up, I'm fine with giving up. The trade with the Rays, where we gave up. I'm just not going to respond to that. I'm just not. Coming from what looks like a Dolphins logo there on your.
It's a Dolphins and Packers fan.
Well, if you're a Dolphins fan, I would definitely say you're also struggling with championships there, my friend. You guys are known for doing that, but the other thing that I would say specifically with the Cubs or the Rays trade is that it looks like a solid bullpen arm. It looks like the Rays and the Cubs are just kind of trading pieces to see if they can get one of their pieces to work. Other than that, the Jose Cuellos trade with the Royals, it's fine. Really, there's not a lot of moves particularly to talk about. I don't really have any big particularly I don't know. I don't have particularly strong feelings one way or another, I guess is the best way to put it.
Yeah.
But to answer Jansen's question, yes, I did see the game Friday. That was an epic catch. That was such an awesome catch. I thought it was going to be caught before the warning track, and then I'm like, oh, he kept going back and back and back, and then it's over the wall, and he caught it. So it really didn't dawn on me until he caught it that it was going over the wall. So it was a little bit of a shock. So.
Yeah, Sports Talk 101. I don't really understand what they're saying the Tigers did a good job.
Have the
I mean,
Tigers
what have
done
they done at
anything?
the deadline? They traded away Michael Lorenzen. I
I'm
guess
surprised that they haven't traded away Edward Rodriguez so far.
there's a lot of talk about him being traded.
I'm sure he will. I'm just surprised he hasn't already. Maybe it will come closer to the deadline.
Okay, hold on. I need the. Next one, I guess we can talk about next trade. AJ Pollock, Mark Mathias, heading to the Giants for a player to be named later. I mean, it's a decent pickup for the Giants. I don't really see much out of that. What do you think?
He's a backup. He's a backup is all I can say. I don't think that you're getting much out of the deal one way or another. And yeah, I think like with this, here's the thing that I will say, like with this trade deadline specifically, I just don't. I don't have really strong feelings one way or another because there aren't really super big names, unless if you're a Mets fan, like the Mets. I'm sure there are kind of some strong feelings about not being good. But when you talk about like everything else, like the Padres aren't moving big pieces, the Cubs aren't moving big pieces. Like the Rangers and the Astros have both gotten a big time pitcher, but both the pitchers have been, they've been okay. They're old guys. It's like, I think I know this is terrible for broadcasting, but it's kind of like, okay, let's kind of wait and see.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Then let's see. Next trade is the Brewers. I talked about this a little bit, but Mark Canha coming to Milwaukee from the Mets in return for Justin Jarvis. So I like the deal. He's an average player, as average as you can get in baseball, including his batting average. So I mean, not many home runs, almost 30 RBIs. Not a great pickup, but interesting deal. Now this one kind of threw me off guard a little bit. The D-backs getting Paul Sewald from the Mariners in return for Josh Rojas, Dominic Canzone, and Ryan Bliss. Josh Rojas on the move. I don't know if I really expected that. I mean he's not hitting well, but he's a decent player.
Yeah, I would agree. I was a little bit I was a little bit surprised by the move. I would say I was more or less surprised. I'll be honest. I gotta look up Pat Sewald's our numbers this year because I haven't been following him that much.
Yeah, same.
So I haven't followed the Mariners. I don't follow. So I'm looking up his numbers now because I know he's been a good closer. But let's see here. Like I think if he was what he was previously, I definitely think it'll be a good pickup.
Yeah. So I'll ask you this, Sprikely. Just kind of I put this in the comments. Who is the biggest winner of the deadline so far? The four options are Angels, Rangers, Brewers, someone else.
I don't think it's the Angels. I think the Angels did okay things, but I think that if they were really going to do something big, I think it was trading for a Scherzer or a Verlander.
Yeah.
So I don't think it's the Angels. I don't think it's the Brewers. I don't really see any big
I just put it in there because why not?
Oh yeah. I understand. If you're looking at like the Rangers, I think they've made some solid moves. I don't know if anybody's really won the deadline particularly. I think the Mets have lost it to a degree. Like they're getting prospects, sure, but I think it's more of the painful reminder that their team sucks. Um, so yeah, I think that it more or less has to do with we'll kind of see. Like I think with this particularly, you're looking at kind of a deadline that these moves may not look as flashy, and they may end up working out better than some people think, better than even I think. So, yeah, and like with baseball road trippers comment, let me see if I can. The Angels were in a no-win situation with Ohtani. I completely agree. I think that
Yeah.
um, if you trade Ohtani away, you're getting pieces, yes, on one hand, but then you're also giving to your fan base basically nothing. Like in return, like the Angels just Ohtani. The problem that I have with it is I don't know what Ohtani would have gotten. I have no
Yeah.
idea what he would have fetched. Like if he goes to the Orioles, does he get like all the way up to a Jackson Holiday level player? If he goes to the Rays, I saw in some reports, or the Blue Jays, or like those, like how high level of a prospect are you, or prospects are you getting? Like if you're getting a Jackson Holiday, then I would have said yes, you should have traded him, because I think that you're not going to get Ohtani back. But like as a Cubs fan, I'll say this: like the Cubs could have traded Bellinger and Stroman, and they could have gotten big pieces, I think, in return. But you are like, as a Cubs fan, you just can't continue to do that. And I think the Angels are in a similar spot that you can't keep selling every single time. Like at some point, you just gotta, even if you know you're not going to do well, like at some point you just gotta push all the chips in and hope it goes well. So I don't know.
Yeah, I'll start here just getting through these comments again. Magic Man, can we trade Bernie? Bernie Brewer is one of the best mascots in baseball. There's a reason the dude has a whole slide, and not even a slide, but a whole chalet just for him. You know, like he's a great mascot. Baseball road tripper, I would have to agree with you on the topic of the Reds haven't made any moves. It doesn't make much sense, because I mean right now the Brewers are the only team that has made a decently notable move in getting Carlos Santana, who's a good player. Like I mean it's going to be a tight division coming into the end of the year.
Well, I think the Cubs have made the biggest moves in the division. If you're looking at the division, the Cubs have made the biggest with Candelario.
That's true, Candelario. Yeah, that's true. I forgot. I honestly forgot.
The rest of the Cubs moves, yeah, are semi in what's the word I'm looking for? They don't matter that much, I guess.
Yeah.
But Candelario, you're looking at not only a player for this year, but also a long-term player, because I assume the Cubs are bringing him in to probably extend him and make them the future third baseman for this franchise, at least for the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah. I will say, though, also the Reds have a tougher schedule than the Brewers. And the Cubs have a tougher schedule than the Brewers, too. So, I mean, when you look at that, that's kind of, you know, the Brewers have such an easy schedule. I feel like it'll be easier for them to finish it off and get that 3 seed. Flame Legend saying, "Hey, fellas, good to see you, Flame." Aiden, yes, they do have Ellie. They also have Matt McClain. Baseball road tripper. I will say, yeah, I'm going to agree with this, but I also say the Angels have one of the toughest schedules in baseball. They're in a loaded American League that's going to be tough to get into the playoffs. CJ Cron, Randall Grichuk, Lucas Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez, all good players, but it is a tough call. It really is. As I'm trying to get to the rest of the comments here, Baseball Road Trooper says, I agree that they have a good squad. It's odd they didn't make some tiny tweaks, a bullpen arm, maybe a veteran starter. Yeah, I did hear the Reds are looking into starters. That came out this afternoon. Flame says, Rangers have more bullpen and dugouts. I know the real deal. It's interesting to see what's how the league will be on the line. Yeah, it will be. This is interesting. Edward Bizzardo for Logan Reinhardt. Okay. I was trying to make a push to the playoffs. Fredbird and Bernie are like in the same class to me, John. They're both good mascots. They're both A-tier mascots. I'll say that. We have, yes, former Tiger there. And then let's see. Cody is in the chat. And I will say, so we are going to take a very quick break. Stay with us here on the other side of the break. We will continue to answer your comments. So, yeah, we will be right back.
Hey, Sorgy Squad. It's been a while. It's been too long. But that's because we finally finished the biggest Sorgy story yet. Now it's bigger than you think. Much, much bigger. It's not a video. It's not a YouTube video. It's a heck of a lot bigger than that. Go check out the link in the description to see what it is. Think about the biggest dream you could ever have about the place you call home. No, think again. Bigger. Even bigger than that. It's as big as it gets. I chased that dream.
There we go. Okay, so that's better. Joey, welcome in. Good to see you. Yeah, I just figured that out. I thought I didn't think that I ever muted my mic, and I guess I did. We are kind of in the heart of the deadline talk right here. We have some news coming in. Eduardo Rodriguez and Jack Flaherty both have strong markets and could be traded. Dodgers, Braves, Reds, Orioles, Marlins, Diamondbacks, all get rotation upgrades. Yeah, Joey, appreciate you coming in. I don't know where Reichley went, but he said he'll be back in the stream in a minute. So, yeah. Tommy Pham linked to linked to the Phillies. Interesting there. And Nick talking to Phillies general manager Dave Dombrowski saying, "Give me Adam Duvall." Yeah. So looking here at what else is happening. And the MLB, Joey Bart has been mentioned in Giants trade talks. He could be moved in the next 2 hours. Just kind of keep that in mind. Also, little contract thing with Justin Verlander. The Mets are sending the Astros about $54 million, one executive said. If Verlander's $35 million option in 2025 becomes real, I guess, Verlander is owed about $93 million, meaning that the Astros would pay Verlander about $29 million for 2 1/3 years. Nick, I think it's an interesting move, but I mean, just look at his stats and you'll see exactly what's happening. Mancini, DFA'd or released by the Cubs. They're planning to get him off the roster. It makes sense. He's not been a good hitter. He has about 30 RBIs, but still, outside of that, he's just been terrible. Only 4 homers on the year. So I get it. I don't know how much I like it, but I get it. Going into a little bit more of the past trades of past days, we have the Blue Jays getting Jordan Hicks. I really like that move for them, as the Blue Jays needed some bullpen help. Aiden, what popcorn place? Let us know. Because Chicago has some good popcorn, I can tell you that. Possibly the biggest deal of the deadline. Max Scherzer heading to the Rangers in return for Luis Angel Acuna. Yes, Acuna, Ronald Acuna's little brother. So, yeah, I kind of like that deal. For the Rangers, he's been a good pitcher this year. Obviously, a very well-known guy. And the Rangers needed some help to put them over the Orioles. Sorry, I was looking at ESPN very quickly. So, yeah. Keep the comments coming in as we are talking about this big 2023 deadline. Other trades that have happened. Lance Lynn heading to the Dodgers. Oh, Garrett's popcorn. Oh. Cody, no clue what you're talking about. None of those were good games. Sorry, but none of those were. I'm just giving you a hard time, Cody. Yeah, GG's on that. Sports Talk 101, Scherzer forward Tiger. Yes, he is. Tigers have sold this deadline. Could keep selling. We'll have to look at that as more news comes in. To quote Charles Barkley, terrible. Okay, Lance Lynn heading to the Dodgers, and Joe Kelly also heading to the Dodgers for some prospects, and the brother of Klay Thompson, Trace Thompson. That's an interesting deal. I like it for the Dodgers. David Robertson heading from the Mets to the Marlins in return for some prospects. I like it. He went to the World Series last year. So yeah, I'm a fan of that deal for the Marlins. Brewers getting Carlos Santana for Johnny Severino. Phenomenal deal for the Brewers. Santana is a phenomenal player, especially defensively. That's the part about him I like. Lucas Giolito, Ronaldo Lopez heading to the Angels in return for some prospects. Again, good deal. Giolito and Lopez, both really good players, going to help the Angels make their playoff push. That's going to be really tough for them. Amador Rosario for Noah Syndergaard and cash. I like the deal for the Dodgers. They needed a shortstop. That's what they got. Sam, appreciate it. And I love the profile picture of Gideon with DeMarcus Cousins. So, yeah. Baseball Roadtripper, if you're still here, you can give comments on this. Jorge Lopez in return for Dylan Floro. Interesting deal there. Right-hand pitcher for right-hand pitcher. Both relievers. I don't really know what the point of that was, but hey, it's a decent deal. Trent Thornton to the Mariners for Mason McCoy. I was intrigued by this. The Mariners have had an interesting deadline. They acquire a relief pitcher, then trade an outfielder. So that was interesting. Red Sox acquired Mauricio Rivera for Marcus Johnson. Deal. This one hasn't been talked about at all. Kike Hernandez heading back to LA in return for some prospects. I like the deal. If I'm a Dodgers fan, I'm happy to have Kike back in LA. So yeah, and now joining back with us as soon as I can get this working. Okay, there we go. The football expert, Rightly, welcome back.
Thank you. So, any big moves happen?
No, I'm going right now just over over what's happened. There have been a couple of guys, a guy that we know very well, Jack Flaherty, has a really strong market, so that could be interesting to see what happens there. Apparently, Dodgers, Braves, Reds, O's, Marlins, and D-backs all looking at some upgrades, so it could be interesting to see how that looks. And also, Joey Bart, the Giants catcher, could be getting traded.
Okay.
So that's about it for now. I was just talking about the Kike Hernandez trade, him heading back to LA for a couple prospects. I like that for the Dodgers. Good clubhouse guy. He's not that good of a hitter, but again, clubhouse guy, helping the chemistry in there.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, definitely. I think that it definitely helps with chemistry and being able to I think that that's definitely a helpful spot that they're at. So I do see from Nicholas up here that the Cubs plan to either DFA or release Trey Mancini. I would say that, yeah, that's to be expected. Trey has been he's not been awful. He's not been a terrible player for the Cubs this year, but there's just not really a use for him. I don't know. I would be surprised if the Cubs DFA'd him because they don't have any 40-man issues that I know of, so I don't know why you would, unless if you're trying to put another guy on your 40-man. I don't know. I haven't heard that before just now, so I guess I'll just have to keep watching Cubs Twitter to see what happens.
Yeah. Ben Gamble heading to the Padres from the Rays, former Brewer. He's been in AAA this season. not that good of a deal, but outfield that who could decent outfielder defensively. So yeah, another trade that happened all the way back on July 12th, and I just wanted to touch on this because it's a Brewers trade. Tyson Miller going to the Dodgers for cash. I love this deal as a Brewers fan, considering that he had a 5.79 ERA over 9 1/3 innings.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It would be baseball, Richard. I would love to see that.
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. I think that maybe Trey wants to be released. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Maybe Trey wants to be released and wants to go be somewhere else. So I don't know.
Nick, Harrison Bader not in the lineup for the Yankees. That's interesting. We'll see how that transpires. Oh my goodness. Everyone, we have a Brewers trade coming in from Ken Rosenthal. Andrew Chafin is coming to Milwaukee.
Interesting.
I think that's it for the Brewers deadline. I mean, that's a great addition for the crew. I saw him pitch in Arizona 2019. Always been a big fan of him. Again, Ken Rosenthal and Todd Rosiak both reporting this. So, I mean, if we look at his stats this year, I have not paid much attention to him, but it's interesting. He definitely
was good for the Cubs, so I think he's a good player. He was good for the Cubs at least that 1 year that we had him. So
it's currently loading. 4.19 ERA, so that's below average. That's good.
He has what?
4.19 ERA. The average is 4.29. So good.
Yeah. Well, it's really not that bad. He gave up 5 earned runs to the Cardinals in 2/3 of an inning 2 starts ago, or 2 outings ago. So otherwise, before that, he had a 2.97 ERA. So
yeah, and good news for the Brewers is that Andrew Chapin won't have to see the Cardinals until the end of the year. So yeah,
yeah.
I really like this move for the Brewers. Andrew Chafin, if you're just kind of wondering about him, Brewers fans, pitched for the D-backs, the Cubs, the A's, the Tigers, and he was back in Arizona. Yeah, I don't really know why the Diamondbacks are selling in that trade. I don't really get that, but hey, okay. No idea on who's in the return yet. We don't have anything on that yet. Yeah, man, the stash baseball road with the stash. So yeah, Adam McCalvey, Brewers beat reporter, says the Brewers were eager to have Justin Wilson paired with reliable Kobe Milner in the bullpen, but Wilson was re-injured warming up on Friday in Atlanta, so they went and got Chapin.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it. I like the move a lot. It's good. Brewers are getting a good guy. He's always seemed like a good clubhouse guy too. So Nick talking about how good he is at the Immaculate Grid. I did part of mine. I did the easy parts earlier, and then I did not finish the Immaculate Grid. Yeah, I will finish that tonight though.
Or go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. I wasn't going to say anything.
Well, this is totally not baseball related, but have you seen the news about the Pac-12 TV deal?
No, I've not.
So basically, with the Pac-12 TV deal, it's looking more likely that Apple TV is going to get it, and they're going to look at an incentive deal for the team. So it wouldn't be a flat contract. It would be based off the TV subscription. So that's interesting.
Yeah, Baseball Roadtripper explaining this move. The backs want to trim the fat on the roster, eliminate older players, guys not under team control, while keeping the core together. Smart move for an overperforming and young team. I would agree with that analysis 100%. On the TV deal, the Pac-12 is dying. So, I mean, at this point, we're looking at the Pac-9.
Yeah.
So, I mean, Oregon, Stanford, Cal, Washington, all teams that could be on the move. Max, Arizona, I've heard, could be going to the Big 12. That's what reports have said. So, I mean, if they go back to the Pac-8, that's not going to be very good. At that point, I think Oregon and Washington are almost done deals to be gone.
Yeah, I think that the Pac-12 is in some serious trouble. And to be honest, it's kind of their own fault. Like they had the ability to change and to grab a couple of the Big 12 teams, and they weren't aggressive. So the Big 12 was aggressive, got what they needed done, and it simply put is it's just it won Brett Yormark doing what he needed to do, and the Pac-12 commissioner really should be fired because he's done a terrible job.
Yeah,
in my personal opinion.
And Sports Talk 101 recaps it perfectly. Rickley, do you think you could ramble on for about a minute? I'm going to go tell my dad about the trade.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah. So with this, the Pac-12, if you guys have comments, leave them in the comments section. We can talk about those. So to help me ramble on here, if you guys don't know who I am, I'm the football expert. I have a YouTube channel, and I've done some stuff with Sorgy Stories before. So maybe you know who I am, maybe you don't. But definitely an interesting environment. I am a Cubs fan. So I am definitely going to disagree on who's winning the division with Anthony. But let's see here. Yeah, so particularly with baseball, let's talk about the NL Central here. Personally, I think that the Central, you have two teams that are completely out of it, and the Cardinals and the Pirates. And then you have three teams that are in it, and that's the Reds, the Brewers, and the Cubs. And I think when you're looking at the Reds, the Brewers, and the Cubs, the Reds, I think, are in a solid position right now, but I think come playoff time, the Reds are in the worst position of the three teams competing for the Central. So I think that the Reds, they may have a good advantage now, right now in the Central standings, but I think that right now the Reds are looking at the worst shape when it comes to later on down the line in the playoffs, particularly. Hey, Anthony, you're muted.
I said, did you say anything about the Cubs winning the division?
I have not said anything about the Cubs winning the division, but I do think the Cubs are going to win the division. I think that personally, when we look at the division, I think that the Cubs have been a good team all year, and I think that if you take out the Cubs between the beginning of May, I think it was April 27th and June 8th, the Cubs were 12-26. Outside of that, they're 15, 16 games above 500. So you're looking at a team that they had a bad stretch and it really kind of screwed them over, but I think they'll be fine now. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm really upset that the Cubs definitely that Stroman is struggling now. I'm a little bit concerned about that, but I will say this: the Cubs, at least so far, have definitely won the free agent battle when it came to shortstops. The Dansby Swanson's by far been the best shortstop of the four, so they paid the least and got the best. Not only bang for their buck, but just best overall player, I think, so far. I doubt that will be the whole contract all the way through. Maybe I'm guessing Swanson probably is the second best by the end of his contract. I don't know if he'll be the best. But the last time a former Nationals player that was on that World Series winning team got paid, he sucks. So maybe Trey Turner will be the same way.
Who are you talking about? Are you talking about Bryce Harper? Oh, well, he wasn't on the World Series team. My bad.
No, I was talking about Anthony Rendon.
That makes sense. I don't think Trey Turner will be the same. Because Rob Thompson said, "You suck. We're moving you down to the 7," and Trey Turner has responded tremendously. So yeah.
Well, Trey
Eric,
Turner is like, to put it into perspective of how good Swanson has been compared to his counterparts. He has a 3.5 WAR compared to Xander Bogaerts' 2.6, Trey Turner's 1.4, and Carlos Correa's 1. So like Trey Turner's been bad this year. Just simply, he's been flat out bad.
yeah,
He is definitely not been worth the contract. I would say Swanson has been the only one that's been worth the contract so far. And I have no idea how the rest of the contracts will work out, but I don't see Swanson getting worse, like at least not dramatically. And Bogaerts, I'll be honest, I never really loved Bogaerts. I never wanted the Cubs really to sign him. I thought, and when you look at the three, the best offensive one has been Swanson, but that's not even Swanson's big thing. His big thing is he's a great defensive player. That's what his value is. Like, he's not a bad offensive player, but his big value is being a elite Gold Glove level shortstop. So
yeah, we do have some deadline news. I apologize to cut you off. Excuse me, non-deadline news. Bo Bichette, all-star shortstop, does not have any structural damage in his knee, and he will be back hopefully sooner than later. They haven't put him on any IL yet. Also, just kind of, fun thing. Responding to Ken Rosenthal saying the Brewers trend for Andrew Chafin, former Brewer Eric Kratz, he responded to that with a gif of Michael Scott from The Office saying, "I love it, I love it."
wow.
So, Baseball Retro, good question. Who wins the Central Series, a World Series of just AL and Central NL Central teams? Okay, so we have 10 teams.
It would be either the Cubs, the Brewers, or the Reds. Like, nobody from the AL Central is winning it.
Yeah, okay, so right now we're talking about in the AL, I'd say the Twins are going to win it, no doubt. They're going to win the AL Central pennant. In the NL, you have, let me think about this, the Cardinals playing so the Cardinals and Pirates would play in a wild card game. I'm using the pre-2022 format here. And then, so winner of that would play the Reds. I've got the Pirates coming on top in that. So Pirates, Reds win. Brewers, Cubs, Brewers win. Brewers beat the Reds. Brewers beat the Twins. And there we go.
I would disagree, but okay.
But I would agree with you. So it's coming out of the NL.
Oh, yeah.
Also, who are your favorites in the World Series? Atlanta and either Texas or Baltimore. I still believe in the Orioles. Go Birdland. I'm all for them. I'd love to see them do well. But the Rangers have made such good moves. To me, it's 50-50 between those two teams, but Atlanta is my lock in the NL.
My World Series matchup would be a rematch of 2020. I'm going with Rays and Dodgers, and I think that the Rays win it.
Okay, I don't know about the Rays. They're good, but I don't know about them. I have some question marks.
I have some question marks. There's no doubt, but there's nobody in the AL that I think has like run away with the league. And when you look at the AL, I'm looking at the Orioles are not going to get a pennant. They're just not. They don't have enough playoff experience. They don't have the pitching. So it's not going to be the Orioles. It's not going to be anybody from the Central. The Astros, I think,
maybe
like, it's kind of 50-50, but I just don't think that the Astros have I don't think that the Astros do it. It's kind of just I'm going to lean Rays over the Astros, and then when it comes to the Rangers and Rays, because I'm kind of eliminating everybody else from the AL East and saying I think the Rays are better than the Blue Jays, the Red Sox, and the Yankees. I don't think the rest of them are much competition. I think that you're looking at a Rays team that yeah, they could lose to Texas, but Texas doesn't have any postseason experience, and the Rays do. So
I would disagrey with that, though. I mean, Marcus Semien postseason experience, Corey Seager postseason experience, Max Scherzer, not Verlander, Jordan Montgomery has been in the playoffs before.
Well, when you look at okay, so let's take the infielders you named and Corey Seager and Marcus Semien. Both of them had losing playoff experiences, except for Seager that one time in 2020, which the LA championships, the Lakers and the Dodgers, them winning championships in 2020 infuriates me because I think in a regular season where there's no COVID, they don't win them. But with Seager, I think, yeah, he has some, but as a general team, they don't really have playoff experience. And yeah, sure, Max Scherzer has playoff experience, but Scherzer's not that good in the postseason. Like he's generally struggled. And Jordan Montgomery, sure, he has postseason experience,
one game.
But the Rays as a team have much more postseason experience. And when you look at the managers, yeah, Bruce Bochy, plenty of playoff experience. Kevin Cash, plenty of playoff experience. But I'm going to lean Rays because I think I like the Rays better.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's not that I think the Rangers I think could very easily win the pennant, but I don't know if I'd go with the Rangers. Yeah. And then when it comes to the NL, I don't think the Braves make it to another World Series. I think that the Dodgers are going to kind of want vengeance, and I think they're going to be able to win a title or win a pennant. So I think that the Dodgers are able to win it because I think the Braves are in a good spot, but I'm more being contrarian than anything else, specifically when it comes to not picking the Braves because I don't want to pick the Braves, but yeah.
So we're going to take a break. We should be back at 4:32 or so. So yeah, we will be right back. As we are back here, welcome back to the Sword Stories Trade Deadline Special. Anthony joining you here as we have the football expert to my left. And we have the great American Football Network now joining us on the right. Aiden, I would agree. I was actually jamming out to that music, as I was when I was actually putting the music all together to make it all fit well. All music is from Epidemic Sound, so yeah, go check them out.
So I guess we got to start. I think we should start with this. Why don't we work our way through each of the divisions, kind of see what we think about those, because I don't think that there are any major trades to talk about at the very moment.
Yeah, I'm just checking to see if there is anything. Yeah, it doesn't seem like there is. American Football Network, you there?
I'm texting him. I'm saying if
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right, sorry, I'll turn my camera on in a minute. I'm still eating right now. I just got home from school.
No, you're fine. I was literally during the break. I was like, "Oh, holy crap!" I was trying to stuff my face with food to make sure.
Yeah.
And I still have a thing of yogurt sitting here while it's just gonna sit here until the next break. So yeah.
Go ahead.
I was gonna say, interesting comment from Sports Talk 101. The Yankees are the only team that haven't been involved in a deadline trade this year. Kind of surprises me.
That's very interesting because I feel like they're a team that needs to make some deals to get to the level that they hold themselves to and their fans hold themselves to.
Yeah, I would 100% agree with that. Frankly, what do you think?
I'm a little bit shocked. Like, I'm trying to think. Like, I'm surprised that every other team has made a move. Wow. Yeah, I guess so. I'm trying to think, but yeah, the one thing I would say with the Yankees is, the big thing that I would say is this. You're kind of screwed in a sense that the two biggest guys on the trade market were New York Mets guys, and that Cody Bellinger and Marcus Stroman were taken off the trade market. So that definitely hurts. So I think the Yankees just kind of got caught with their pants down in a sense, because I think once Bellinger came off the market, they didn't have anybody else to turn to. And I think with none of the Padres guys going either, I think they kind of don't have anybody to turn to. I think that's the reason why they haven't made any moves, is because who are they trading for?
Yeah, Nick informing us who was part of the Andrew Chafin trade. Bye, Peter. I'm not going to miss you at all. You were kind of garbage. So, yeah. But that's my thoughts on Peter Strzelecki heading to the desert. Rightly, you said you want to talk about the each division and who's kind of made the deals. Is that what you want to talk about, or did you want to talk about something else?
Either do that or talk about what we think our playoff rankings will be. If we want to go through maybe playoff, maybe that's more relevant. I don't care.
Okay. Well, how about we talk about who's made the biggest move for each division, and then we can get into our talk of the playoff.
Okay, so biggest addition?
Or yeah, like who's won the deadline for each division? Who's been the biggest winner? We can start in the NL. I guess we'll go to the East. Biggest winner, Michael Lorenzen going to the Phillies, I think, immediately puts them over the Marlins getting David Robinson. Nationals haven't really done anything. Braves haven't done anything other than get a decent bullpen arm in Brad Hand. So yeah, I'd say the Phillies.
Yeah, I can't really disagree with you. Like, there's not really anything. There's not really anything going on in the East outside of the Lorenzen trade, really, that was anywhere near significant.
Rightly, you'll like this. Aiden Tempesta has been sent up to the majors as he will make his Major League Ball hockey debut tomorrow at Wrigley Field.
In return for cash and a bucket of BP balls. Nice.
Yeah, good deal for the Major League Cubs there. As going from the Phillies system, Aiden Tempesta is, I think at least I'm like 90% sure on that. But yeah, NL Central. Or Lincoln, do you have any thoughts, or are you still?
Yeah, so with the NL Central, I haven't really seen a whole lot of moves. I do think the Cubs getting Candelario is a pretty solid move. He's been a pretty solid bat. He's been streaky for the Nationals, but he's been a solid bat for them. I'm trying to think of what other moves have been made for the teams. I know it's not really a win when you look at how they're playing, but maybe the Cardinals, you could say, have won the trade deadline with all the prospects they've gotten.
Yeah,
but I don't really know if that wins for them this year.
Yeah, my candidate has to be the Brewers, though. Andrew Chafin, Mark Canha, Carlos Santana. I think those three together beat Candelario out.
In my opinion, I think it's the Cubs just simply because I think with Chafin, he's a solid bullpen arm. With Canha, I think at best he's a backup bench player. Like, I don't think he's anywhere near a starter.
He's starting in right field.
I'd be a little bit concerned then.
Well, it was 50-50 between him and Joey Weimer, and they chose Canha.
Yeah, like, sure. And who was the third guy?
This Mark Canha is not the Oakland A's Mark Canha. Like, this Mark Canha is
he's low 700s OPS. So, like,
he's decent at best.
Yeah, I say he's the definition of an average MLB player to me.
I wouldn't even say he's average.
I think most of the time he's below average in my opinion.
I'd say he's slightly below average. Speaking of Mark Canha, he has arrived in Washington. So he will be with the Brewers tonight. So that's good news for the Crew, getting their new teammate in there. Confirmation from a Chicago reporter that Bruce Levine that the Cubs have DFA Trey Mancini. But yeah, Carlos Santana is the last Brewers. 13 homers this year, above average hitter by a little bit, and also a really good defensive first base.
Yeah, I think like here's my thing is this. Here's the reason why I think the Cubs had a better deadline than the Brewers is the Cubs didn't give up really anything for Candelario, and Candelario is by far the best of any player that has been traded within the that's been traded to the National League. Is that a fair statement to say?
I would say that. I mean, Candelario was let me look up his numbers. I know he's hitting.
Candelario is batting about 280 with about 15 home runs and 50 or 60 RBIs.
Yeah, let me look real quick right here. He's hitting.
He's I think the best, unless if I'm forgetting somebody, he's the best bat in the deadline.
He's at 258 right now with 16 home runs, 53 RBIs.
I'm checking.
His OPS plus is 128, so he's 28 points above league average. My point with Carlos Santana is, to me, he's a below average guy. I'm not as high on Santana as you are. He hits 230. He does have
Santana is a power guy. That's what Santana is.
Yeah, he's got the 13 home runs, but his OPS plus is 98, which is below the league average.
Yeah, his OPS I know is above average. I'm looking, and I think I'm gonna check rightfully on the only other guy I could think of that could be above Candelario. I'm currently looking up his stats if I can. Oh, there he is. CJ Cron. I don't know how good he's been this year.
Oh no, CJ Cron. He's not 2021 CJ Cron.
Okay, he has 11 homers, 258 average.
Do you remember that he's playing in Colorado this year?
That is true. That's a good point.
So he's got the same average and less home runs than Candelario.
Yeah, exactly.
Candelario's played like a top 10 third baseman this year. Defensively,
yeah,
Especially the thing that people overlook the most with Candelario, and I know this as a Nationals fan from watching him, is his defense over at third base. He's a very good defender over there.
Yeah,
He's
he
also
is.
versatile and would be playing first base for us tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, he's also very versatile, can play third, first, and even a few outfield positions. I think he's played in left before.
Yeah, he has. He like I know as a
field.
I know as a Cub he had a lot of versatility.
Yeah.
And here's the only thing that I'm going to I'll make this point, and I know it seems like we're ganging up on Anthony here, but like Candelario is by far and away the best player within the division that's been traded.
Yep.
And the other thing is that Candelario is also probably going if in the offseason he leaves, then this makes the statement different. But my guess is he comes back to the Cubs and the Cubs re-sign him on a 2 or 3 year deal. So I think that in and of itself, the Brewers probably aren't re-signing any of these guys, or at least beyond a 1 year deal.
Yeah, we do have a little bit of news here coming from John Heyman. Salvador Perez will consider waiving his no-trade clause for the right contender. At different points, the Marlins and Padres checked on Perez, also the White Sox, according to Joel Scherr. So,
Wait,
I mean, what do we?
I'm sorry, the White Sox?
The White Sox have checked on Salvador Perez, yes.
Why?
That is a phenomenal question.
Why are the White Sox
exact
going to make a trade for somebody, especially when you consider they have Grandal?
Yeah.
Well, Grandal is on an expiring contract this year, A, and he sucks, B. But the bigger thing is why would Perez waive a no trade clause to go to a contender when
The Marlins are the only contender on that list. I know the Padres are quote unquote buyers. They're not making the playoffs. I don't want to hear like they're just not.
Yeah, the Padres aren't going to make the playoffs, and even the Marlins, it's 50-50, but the White Sox?
Yeah.
I guess the White Sox are more of a contender than the Royals are.
That is a good point.
Well, I don't even know about that. I'm checking the standings because I think the White Sox may be below the Royals.
White Sox, no, the Royals are. The Royals are at the bottom.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure the Royals are the worst team other than the
A's.
Other than the A's, yeah.
Yeah, they are. So speaking of the Padres, NL West, I've got the biggest
the White Sox
beneficiary.
are 11 games ahead of the Royals.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I see it. Yep.
I'm gonna go biggest winner of the deadline from the NL West. It's got to be the Los Angeles Dodgers, bringing TK back to be a clubhouse guy, and also talking about bringing Lance Lynn and Joe Kelly in.
For me, it would probably be, I guess, the Dodgers. Not much has happened in the division. I'm trying to remember. Like the Giants got Pollock, the Diamondbacks got Seawall and traded away Chafin. I don't know. I don't know. I guess the Dodgers. There's not much going. There's not that many trades in the NL. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think for me, I think you can argue the Diamondbacks because they get, in my opinion, they get a bigger need in Paul Sewald at closer for them. They also bring in another bat in Jace Peterson from Oakland. But I mean, I think you can argue for them. But again, like y'all both said, you got to go with the Dodgers at the end of the day on the winner for it. And I think we can all agree this has been a pretty boring trade deadline compared to years past. Like, there's not any big names really moving around. I mean, Scherzer's probably the biggest deal, and he hasn't even been that great this year.
Yeah.
Like he's not a big name like he's usually been. I don't know if part of that is to do with how bad the Mets are or how much how good he actually is this year. But there hasn't been any big moves whatsoever, and the trade deadline got completely shut down when the Angels announced they were holding on to Shohei.
Yeah, well, it was a combination of three things. It was Shohei, no Cubs, and no Padres. when the three biggest sellers or the three biggest teams with the most to sell said no, like there's nothing that they can do. Like the Bellinger and Stroman were the best pitcher and hitter on the market until the Cubs said, we're going to keep them. And the only reason why I say Stroman better than, like, I guess you could argue that Verlander was better, but yeah, so I don't know with this trade deadline, it definitely isn't as exciting as like a couple of years ago when the Cubs traded off all their pieces, Baez, Rizzo, Bryant. There were other moves throughout it. But I think with so many different with another playoff spot and so many playoff teams, a lot of teams feel that, hey, we'll make a push for that final playoff spot and do what the Phillies did last year. So I think there's less incentive to try to sell because the wild card game isn't a wild card game anymore. It's wild card games. So you're less likely to lose right away, and it's possible to win. So it's just the combination of factors that I think, like, the Padres and the Cubs, especially the Padres. But here's the other thing. The Cubs and the Padres management are both in very worrying positions that if the Cubs sold, Jed Hoyer and David Ross's jobs were on the line. And if the Padres sold, their GM and their manager are probably fired. So, like, they really can't sell. Like, you can't sell with either of those franchises. So I think that you're kind of in a tough spot because you really can't sell. You just can't.
Yeah. We do have a couple of notes here, including a trade. White Sox are sending power-hitting infielder Jake Berger to the Marlins for a prospect.
Okay. That's a good deal for the Marlins. Yeah,
and Bob Nightingale says the Mets are wiping the financial financial stuff as clean as possible for David Stearns, who's expected to be hired as president of baseball operations this winter. And indeed, Max Scherzer said it's his understanding that the Mets are gearing up for 2025 and 2026.
What happened to Steve Cohen and spending money?
I mean, I don't know. I couldn't tell you.
I think the Padres and the Mets have kind of showed how not to build a team. Like, I think with both of those teams, they spent all this. Even the Yankees are a good example too. Like, the top three biggest spenders in baseball are the Mets, the Yankees, and the Padres. Those are the three biggest spenders. The fourth are the Dodgers. The top three teams, none of them are going to make the playoffs. Two of them definitely aren't, and the Yankees probably won't. So you're looking at three teams that they spent a bunch of money, but they spent it recklessly and terribly. Like, they didn't spend it on players that they should. Like, they just didn't spend it well. So that's what happens when you don't spend money wisely, guys.
Yeah. So next division, we're talking. Oh, hold on. We do have some new tweets. Just gonna see if there's anything new. We do have a little bit of news here. Brendan Donovan is set to undergo season-ending surgery today or tomorrow.
Wow.
So Cardinals, big loss there to an already terrible season. Really, really interesting move there. Next division, AL East. I've got the Rays as the biggest winner in the deadline. Actually, no, I'm going to go with the Blue Jays. They got Paul Young and they got Jordan Hicks.
I don't think the Young really matters in that situation, but getting Jordan Hicks is definitely a good pickup. Get a good bullpen arm. Dude throws like 100 miles an hour, and he can control it for the most part, and he's good in those clutch situations. I like that move by the Blue Jays to get him.
Yeah, the Young only matters until Bo Bichette comes back from injury.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm looking on Twitter to see if there were any MLB updates, but this came up, and I think this is a pretty interesting one. I think The cut candidate is pretty obvious, but start bench cut. Jordan Travis, Joe Milton, Bo Nix. I know this is not baseball, but I just saw this come up, so I'm going to ask you guys.
Lincoln.
Sorry, what was that? Y'all cut out.
Whoa. I should. Go ahead, Riley.
Start bench cut. Jordan Travis, Joe Milton, Bo Nix.
I'm cutting Joe Milton. He's the only one out of that team, out of those three that is proved for an entire season that he can be, accurate and lead his team to a good season. And but he played good against Clemson last year in the bowl game, but he's yet to show that he can perform like that throughout the course of an entire season. Then you look, now it's between Jordan Travis and Bo Nix for me. Jordan Travis has increasingly gotten better year by year, but he's still yet to really win a big game. I get he won the LSU game last year, but neither one of those teams were really supposed to be what they ended up being at the end of the season. But I still think I would go with him because he just takes care of the football. That's who I would start: Jordan Travis, bench Bo Nix, and cut Joe Milton.
Okay. Anthony?
I gotta go with Lincoln. Obviously, if Joe Milton has a good year, it could be different. And I hope he does. I'm just saying that for my friend Nick. I don't know if he's in the comment section still, but for Nick, go Rocky Top. So yeah, I have to agree with Lincoln on those three.
What was it? Who did you start, Lincoln?
I started Jordan Travis.
Yeah, even though I hate to make it three in a row, I'm gonna have to make it three in a row. I agree. I think that it's gonna kind of be that way. So, but let's see here. Okay,
in my opinion, that's really the only right answer to that question.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Just because of the way that Travis, assuming that they all stay healthy.
We have breaking news from Jeff Passan and Baseball Road Tripper. The Los Angeles Dodgers and hold on. So the Dodgers had a trade in place for Eduardo Rodriguez, but Rodriguez invoked his 10-team no-trade clause that included the Dodgers, and the deal is now dead there, and he is heading to the Angels now.
Huh.
That's interesting for sure. Why would you go to, if you could pick between the teams in LA, why would you go to the Angels over the Dodgers?
Yeah, I don't know. My question is, Baseball Retriever, which report was that? I'm trying to find it right now.
Passan put it out.
Oh, someone put it out. Hold on, where is it? I don't see it yet.
Put out a tweet 4 minutes ago.
Let's see. Yeah, the last thing I see from him is the Dodgers and Tigers had a trade in place.
So I'm scrolling through Twitter here, which is our X or whatever it's called.
I call Twitter.
So this is a move that I would completely agree with if I was the Cubs GM. The Mets aren't going to be competitive till 2025, 2026. Why not get Pete Alonso? You need a first baseman.
I don't like the Mets, but I hate the Cubs more, so please don't.
I think that'd be a great trade. I would be very happy if the Cubs got Pete Alonso. They're winning the division, just period.
Yeah, Baseball Road Tripper, you are 100% fine. Yeah, at first when I saw Tigers, I was like, oh, I thought it was going to be the Angels too, and I saw Los Angeles because I already knew Eduardo Rodriguez had been I've heard a different report about that exact same thing with the Dodgers. So a few hours ago. So yeah.
So let's see here. Let's do this.
It looks like here I just see something on this right here that Verlander's going back to Houston.
Oh yeah, that came out a
Yep.
couple hours ago.
Why does it say on mine that I thought I heard that a few hours ago, but mine says Fox Sports MLB 2 seconds ago.
I mean, unless they meant to have this S, move the S to a C, so it would say I guess they wanted it to be a C, so it'd say 2 centuries ago. But yeah, I mean, we could talk about that. That's a big move for the Astros.
Yeah, I was at school, so I missed it. So I just now opened it up and see that Fox Sports MLB posted it 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, so here's my thought on this. The Astros have gone to 6 straight ALCSs. They had to do something if they want a chance at a 7, and that they made a move that could help them.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really like the move from the Astros' perspective. They trade for a 40-year-old starting pitcher. They give up 2 top 40 prospects, I believe it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, 2 top 40 prospects for an old starting pitcher who has been injury prone this season, who hasn't even pitched that great this season, and you give up 2 top 40 prospects for that.
Yeah,
I'm not. I would have loved to have seen them gone after Eduardo Rodriguez over Verlander.
Oh, we have an incredible. We have an insanely big story here. Jim Leland just walked out of the Tigers clubhouse and said that he just got traded.
Who's that?
Jim Leland.
Go ahead.
Go ahead, Rightly.
The famous Tigers manager.
Yeah.
That is for John Morosi of MLB Network. I thought that was pretty funny.
Okay, so Big Game Boomer put this out. I know I'm bringing this to college football, and it's not a college football show, but again, I'm scrolling through X or Twitter or whatever we want to call it. I think this is BS. Lincoln is going to agree with it. But Big Game Boomer put out a top 50 non-conference best non-conference rivalries. Do you want to guess who number 2 is?
I just pulled it up. I see it.
That's stupid.
Okay. Well, let me think about this one.
If you think historically, though, throughout the years, that has been one of the most competitive rivalry games.
Is it the backyard brawl?
Nope. No. Oh, do we need to tell Anthony, or Anthony, do you want to guess?
I'm gonna try to think about this for a minute. Okay, so it's not the backyard brawl. Where's the backyard brawl on this list?
Number 3.
Okay, is Army versus Navy number 1?
Yep.
Okay.
Good guesses.
Yeah. Backyard. Okay, so number 2. What is it? Just go ahead and tell me.
Clemson and South Carolina.
You realize they did have until 2020 when COVID happened. They had the longest streak of rivalries. Their game had been played longer than any other rivalry game, in conference, out of conference. It doesn't matter.
I understand, but here's the problem I have. One of the biggest problems I have is I'm looking down this list. Michigan and Notre Dame is at number 15. Why is Michigan and Notre Dame at 15?
I knew it was coming.
But here's the other thing that I would.
Why is Purdue and Notre Dame at 19?
Nobody cares about Purdue as a Notre Dame. I can't remember the last time I remember playing or caring about Purdue.
I didn't even know that was a rivalry till I just now seen it pop up, and I was like, oh, I guess it is.
Because they're from the state of Indiana. That's it. Like, as a basketball rivalry.
I'm not saying that Clemson, South Carolina should be number 2 on this list. I'm just saying I can kind of see where the guy's coming.
Frankly, I hate to tell you this, but Notre Dame is so bad in basketball, they don't have any rivals.
Here's the thing. First of all, Anthony, the entire state of Indiana is rivals with everybody. Butler, Indiana, Purdue, and Notre Dame.
Yes.
Like, there's a whole matchup series for that, which I love.
Historically, we're rivals. Marquette and Notre Dame are rivals historically.
Yeah, but that was just because we played in the Big East and stuff like that. And Notre Dame.
It was because both of our teams were at the top of the world in the 1970s.
Well, yeah. And Notre
Look
Dame,
at number
here's
50
the
on
other.
that list.
Here's the other
Oklahoma
thing.
and
Notre
USC.
Dame. What did you say, Lincoln?
Look at number 50 on that list. The rivalry there is Oklahoma and USC. Name the last time Oklahoma and USC has played each other.
I don't know. I don't
It's a
know.
great question.
But also, why is Florida and Miami at 22?
I don't know.
That's off.
That's stupid.
The last
North
time
Carolina-
USC and Oklahoma have played was September 26, 1981.
I guess it's 50, so I'm not going to have that big of an issue with it. But another big issue, here's the thing. I want to address this point. Lincoln, Clemson, South Carolina, top 5, sure. I just don't think it's number 2.
Here's the problem. These two teams right here have only played each other 8 times.
Who?
And they're putting them on a rivalry list.
Who?
OU and USC. They've only played in total 7 times.
It's number 50, unless if you wanted to put Notre Dame and you could have put Notre Dame and Ohio State on there, I guess.
I think at that point you could put Clemson and Ohio State or Clemson, Alabama on there over Oklahoma and USC after their playoff matchups.
At this point, you could put Marquette and Creighton on there, and both of those programs have been on for forever.
That's football.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just saying, both of those programs were football programs at one time.
Yeah. But here, my list. Okay, so let's do a top 5 here. Let's do a top 5. My top 5 would be Army, Navy 1. 2 would be Florida State, I think. 3 would be the Backyard Brawl.
I think 1 and 3 are in perfect spots.
4 would be Notre Dame and USC, and 5 would be Clemson and South Carolina. The only reason why I have Notre Dame and USC ahead of Clemson and South Carolina is because
you're a Notre Dame homer.
No, it's because Notre Dame and USC have actually played in big moments. That rivalry has big moment implications. South Carolina and Clemson, there's no championship on the line or something like that in previous matchups. It's a big rivalry here, and it will get bigger in the next 5 years or so. But generally,
it'll be above Notre Dame USC if Clemson joins the SEC.
Oh yeah, maybe. But here's the other problem: is that Clemson and South Carolina, as far as I can remember, that rivalry has always been one-sided. Whatever the side was, it's only been recently with last year that it started to become a little bit more neutral. Otherwise, it's been Clemson won it for 8 years right in a row, and then USC won it, or South Carolina won it for 6 or 7.
Clemson won it for 8 years in a row, but only 7 games played because 2020.
Yeah,
and then South Carolina won it 5 games in a row.
So my point is that as long as I can remember or stuff like that, there aren't any massive matchups like Notre Dame and USC. You obviously have the historical implications that they played. They played with. Now you made me lose my train of thought here, Anthony. You made me lose my train of thought.
I do love how you debate back and forth when it comes to college football, though, because when you talk about Notre Dame, it's all about the historical stuff they've done. But when you talk about other stuff, it only applies to the time that you've been alive.
Here's the thing: when we're talking about rivalries, especially all-time rivalries, we have to take it with a historical context.
Okay, that's my point. You just said Clemson and South Carolina. Why you have Notre Dame USC ahead of them is because in your lifetime, whenever you've been alive in remembrance of the game, it's just been one-sided back and forth.
You
just criticized
the point that I am making is that both this rivalry is historic and was one of the foundational pieces to college football, A, and B, in recent memory. I'm taking both. Clemson and USC, or Clemson and South Carolina, to specify. Clemson and South Carolina have a deep and historic rivalry. But I think that the problem that I have with it being ahead of even like Texas or Texas, I just don't, there's not a big defining moment when it comes to Clemson, South Carolina that is in the national perspective that like it decided a national championship or something like that, the way like people will remember the Bush Push game, or people remember games with Matt Liner and stuff like that, or games going back to also, I just realized this when I was thinking about that, going back to where's Notre Dame and Miami on this list?
Yeah, is it not on there?
No, I don't see it. Notre Dame and
again.
Miami is nowhere on this list because I was thinking about going back and I'm like, wait a second, where's Notre Dame and Miami? Why are they not on there? They're Catholics versus convicts. Like, that's like
Notre Dame, Michigan State is 24, but Notre Dame, Miami isn't even on there.
That's stupid.
I'll be right back. I got to take a quick break.
Okay. Well, I guess we're all going to take a quick break here. We'll be back, like Anthony says, in a couple of minutes.
I hope that everyone is enjoying this stream. Anthony here with you as we listen to some much jazz music as I'm turning dancing a little bit to it in the School Studios. After that great discussion of college football, the Backyard Brawl is number 2. I wish I could say number 1, but ROC Navy is obviously number 1 on that list. Backyard Brawl then. After that, I don't think. To be 100% honest. Brewers lineup card has been submitted. Christian Yelich will be batting first, Jordan Schroeder second, Carlos Santana third, Willie Adames fourth, Sal Freeland fifth, Mark Canna 6th, Andrew Monasterio 7th, Royce Terang 8th, and Joey Weaver 9th with Freddie Peralta on the mound. He's sitting today with a 4.46 ERA. Okay, it is 5:10 here in the Sorgy Sports Studios, and that was We Just Gotta Celebrate, or We Just Gotta Get Together by Wanda Shakes on Epidemic Sound. Thank you for being with us, to all 5 of you. An hour and 40 minutes in. It's a long time, isn't it? As Reichly is back with us now. I just talked a little bit about college football, but mostly about the Brewers lineup. So,
yeah, it's we got a interesting scenario going on here, with the division, with all of this stuff going on. So,
we do have a little bit of news from Bob Nightingale. Now that the Dodgers have been rebuffed for Tiger starter Eduardo Rodriguez, the asking price for St. Louis Cardinals starter Jack Flaherty and White Sox ace Dylan Cease certainly rises. The Dodgers still want one more starter. There is a what is this? Apparently there's something about the Brewers on there. Oh, it was Peter Strzelecki hugging Chris Hook, after the Brewers pitching coach, after finding out he had been traded.
Okay, so let's see here. What White Sox players do you think are traded before the deadline in an hour or so?
I don't think anyone's traded.
You don't think Eloy's gone or anything?
I hope Eloy's driving 90 minutes up I-94, which isn't that hard to drive up from, considering that both stadiums are right next to the interstate. Or Eloy could very easily take the red line into downtown Chicago on the L from Sox and 35th, take it up to Union Station, hop on the Metro to Kenosha, or hop on an Amtrak to Milwaukee, and he's there almost as quickly. So, I wish that was happening, but sadly it won't be because the Brewers have the guy now who is batting sixth in their order tonight, Mark Canha. So we just went from MLB to college football to MLB to now a little bit of NBA news. The Celtics have waived Justin. I know this isn't how you say his name, but I just like saying it this way. Justin Champagne. He was signed to a multi-year deal out of the G League last season. So,
Okay.
Yeah, whatever that's worth. Lincoln, since you're a Nats fan, do you want to let's look at the Nationals lineup tonight up against the Brewers? I was talking about the Brewers. Let me find that lineup. Nats lineup tonight consists of, as it is currently loading. Here we go. The Nats have Josiah Gray on the mound. The lineup is C.J. Abrams, Lane Thomas, Joey Meneses, Dominic Smith, Keibert Ruiz, Luis Garcia, Corey Dickerson, Jake Alou, and Alex Cole.
Oh, I think Baseball Road Tripper did ask us a question, Michigan or Ohio State. If Baseball Road Tripper is still here, I will answer this question in two forms. Do I like Michigan or Ohio State better? I like Ohio State better than I do Michigan. Who do I think is going to win this year? Probably Michigan.
Go Blue all day, every day against Ohio State. Them Buckeyes are going to go down. I can't stand them. I hope that they. I hope that they go 0 a zillion at this point. I hate Ohio State so much. So go Blue in that game.
I think Michigan's going to win, but I don't think Ohio State's going to lose more than 1 or 2 games. They have 3, you could say, top 10 receivers in the country on that team. I think I could go out there. I think I could go out there and throw for 3,000 yards on that team with those receivers.
I'm just saying, Ohio State does have to come to Camp Randall. I don't think that's much more of a blowout than 2 scores.
I think they'll still come and hang 60 on Wisconsin, to be honest.
Yeah, I still think it's a 2-score game. It very well could be like 60-45 or something like that.
I don't see Wisconsin scoring 45 points.
Oh, I know, but I'm just saying though, like our defense hasn't taken that much of a step back.
Even last year, before they took the step back, they gave up 52.
I would say, or go ahead, Anthony.
I was gonna say that's true. I'm trying to. Who did we give up 52 to?
Ohio State.
Oh, we did. Oh yeah, I guess we did. I forgot about that.
Like 52 to 17.
Sink the boat. I hope that Minnesota also loses every game.
I like Minnesota.
I like Wisconsin a lot more than Minnesota. And Baseball Road Tripper, we're coming for that axe. It's not staying at TCF Bank Stadium very long.
I would kind of agree, but you do have to play on the road this year, so that's not going to be easy.
And be careful because Minnesota has a solid quarterback and some talented receivers.
I'd like you to say their quarterback's name there, Lincoln.
I can't pronounce his name. I'm not even going to try to, but they have a good quarterback.
I can pronounce Wisconsin's quarterback's name. His name's Tanner Mordecai. He's pretty good.
He's solid, but we'll see whether he's allowed to throw the ball, how much he's allowed to throw the ball, or whether they're just going to completely abandon the run altogether. I don't know.
I'm worried with Wisconsin that Luke Fickell's style is going to come in and that they're going to completely just not use their best weapon in Braylon Allen. But I also feel like Luke Fickell's smart enough to realize he has a top 5 running back in the country and utilize him very well.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Back to baseball talk because the deadline, the title of this stream has nothing to do with the MLB whatsoever. Sox probably not selling off too much. They still think they can compete in a weak division. They have a core and it's not terrible, good enough to potentially overachieve with a couple additions. Maybe, but at the same time, everyone is on the table apparently, except for Luis Robert. That was what was reported this afternoon.
I'm sorry if you're a White Sox fan. I honestly don't know if you are or not, but
Baseball Road Trooper's a Twins fan.
okay, they don't have a core. Who's the core?
Eloy Jimenez, Luis Robert, Tim Anderson, Dylan Cease.
Tim Anderson hasn't hit a home run until like 2 days ago.
And he's also 30 years old. I wouldn't consider him a core. He's like 30, 31 years old.
That's true. He's good defensively.
Yeah. You have Luis Robert and Eloy Jimenez and Yohan Moncada and but those guys aren't like. You don't build around those. Like Robert, yeah, sure, and Jimenez maybe, but Moncada? And like really with the rest of the team, you traded away Giolito. Cease has been inconsistent. And like I don't know if that's a core.
With Tim Anderson, I don't understand the talk about the home runs with him. To me, it's the average. He's hitting 245 this year. Like he's not a home run guy.
245 average is only 3 under the average.
Yeah, but that's not good for Tim Anderson. He's been slowly progressing.
He's still like an average hitter.
2 years ago,
you got to hit 260 to 270 with Anderson.
Yeah.
And if you're going to be considered a core player for a team, I feel like you should be hitting 280 plus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
280 plus. And if you're Tim Anderson, just think 2 years ago, the dude was hitting 315, 310, something like that.
Yeah. Like my opinion is this. The Sox are not they're in a terrible division. Let's start off with that. They're in a terrible division and it isn't getting any better. But who are they going to get? They don't have a farm system. They don't have like an elite farm system. They don't spend more money than the Cubs do. They're not going to get any. Like the Sox are in a bad position. They screwed up the rebuild. They just screwed up the rebuild.
Yeah.
Just 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago, the White Sox were a team that people like 2-3 years ago, people had this team going to the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
And that's how far that they've gone. Now they're sitting only 11 games ahead of the second worst team in baseball.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
And fourth in probably the worst division in baseball.
And so not even close.
Can we explain why that is? Let's start with Jerry Reinsdorf, their owner. And second of all, a good buddy of mine, I'm saying that extremely sarcastically, Tony La Russa. He stinks. He hates the game of baseball, and I can rant on about him for about 20 million hours. But yeah.
Yeah, here's the thing that I will say. As a Cubs fan, obviously, I'm probably a little biased. But when it comes to the White Sox, I kind of feel bad for them because they screwed up that rebuild. Tony La Russa has been a terrible manager for them. And if they had gotten the right manager, I think they probably would still be competing. But they're not because they screwed it up. And yeah, Jerry Reinsdorf, I'm not going to say he definitely has screwed up some of his ownership, both of the White Sox and of the Bulls, since Jordan left. So, yeah.
Yeah, I apologize. Sorry, my dad just threw Post-it notes at me. So, as he is a few feet away from me at his desk. But yeah. We are going to be taking a break in a few minutes. After that, I'll be going an hour straight, just talking about the deadline as it ends. If there's no news, then probably end early, I would think. Just checking to see if there is anything that's happened. The White Sox are getting Luis Patino from the Rays for cash. And
if it was for Kevin Cash, that would make it much better.
Yeah. I'm just seeing who this guy, and that's from a White Sox reporter who is also saying that that is it for the White Sox deadline.
Huh. Definitely a disappointing deadline for him.
For sure, Baseball Road Trooper. I would agree with that, and I'd also agree with you. So, yeah, that's what's been going on. So I guess we'll just, guys, since I think you're both going to be going at the break, I'll ask you, Rightly, your Cubs against the Reds score prediction for tonight, and Lincoln Bruce Nasser score prediction.
I'm trying to. Let me check who's on the bump tonight.
I got you right here. Tonight for the Cubs and the Reds, it is going to be Lively versus Steele.
Let's see here. 4-0.
Okay.
Okay,
Cubs.
I don't mind that.
4-0, 4-1. I think the Cubs get the dub.
Okay.
I'm perfectly fine with the Cubs winning that game. I know you wouldn't never expect me to say that, but
I fully expect you to say that. The Reds are winning the division.
Exactly. I'm perfectly fine with the Cubs winning, considering the Brewers are hunting down the Reds right now.
Well, be careful because you very well may lose again tonight to the Nationals.
I've got the Brewers winning. I've got us winning 3-2. I'll say 3-2. I think the Nats bullpen is pretty bad. I think that Josiah Gray gives up 1 run. Nats bullpen gives up 2 runs. And Freddie Peralta gives up 2 runs.
I have the Nationals winning tonight 5-3.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah,
didn't they win? They won that by that last night's
score. Repeat of last night's score.
Yeah. Any final thoughts on the deadline, guys?
I'm bored. Didn't
Yeah,
look at anything interesting.
Yeah, nothing interesting has happened.
Yeah. Sadly, it hasn't been very eventful.
I will ask this question: should baseball reintroduce the 2 trade deadlines?
Yes.
I think so. Yeah, I think it'll be good for the game.
Yeah, I agree. I think that the second trade deadline, especially for teams like the Padres, that maybe they'll start sucking again, and the Padres will want to trade Snell and Hader or something. Yeah, I'm a little as a baseball fan, I'm disappointed that the Cubs didn't trade Bellinger or Stroman, or the Padres didn't trade Snell or Hader. But as a Cubs fan, I'm fine with the Cubs keeping Bellinger and Stroman, but or even the Angels keeping Ohtani. It was set up to be this really big deadline, but kind of fell a little flat.
Yeah,
What time exactly is the deadline? 6 o'clock, right?
6, yeah. 6 Eastern.
Yeah.
A thought here is, I feel like, just last thought before we head to break. Ohtani not being traded increased everyone's value, and I think that's part of why guys did not get traded.
I agree.
Yeah, I want to disagree. Yeah.
So we're gonna head on a very quick break here for a few minutes, and on the other side, I will be talking about the deadline, wrapping it all up. So Lincoln, rightfully, I think you guys are heading out. So I will talk to you guys soon.
All right, see you, man. Have a good rest of your show.
See you guys.
See ya. We are back. And guess who decided to join us?
The workday is done. Daddy shows up. More I think you want to come in there now.
Whatever. Daddy costs, whatever. So, yeah, we're here. Let me put it in the one mode so you can actually see us. There we go.
Excellent.
Excellent. So, yeah. Still waiting on really any, like, there's nothing from. There we go. Now everyone's saying
Life is good. Life is good. Yes.
Aiden will be making his major league debut at 5:30 tomorrow in Chicago.
Okay.
Ball hockey. Just seeing if there's anything new here. The Rangers are talking about Austin Hedges. So that's can you put this in just to make sure they can hear you?
Possibly, sure.
Okay. JT Realmuto has been scratched from today's lineup. His throwing hand is messed up from a slide that caused him to gash. So Garrett Stubbs starting tonight for Phillies. So that's somewhat notable news. So yeah, that's about all that's happened.
I was just told that the call ended.
Oh yeah, no, that doesn't mean anything.
Let's see. I mean, unless I was on the phone with Matt Arnold, that might have been an issue.
Speaking of Matt Arnold, Craig Counsell is crediting him for moving fast to add a lefty reliever after Justin Wilson went down. Wasn't something they felt they need going into this weekend. That's per Adam McCall.
And now Matt Arnold needs to actually get credit for keeping Craig Counsell long-term with the Milwaukee Brewers. He still doesn't have a contract for next year.
Yeah.
That's got to change.
John Heyman says, Twins looking good at righty bats. Tommy Pham, or looking at righty bats. Pham is a possibility.
Aiden, you're saying that apparently Wrigley is not opening early enough. What time is first pitch tonight?
5:00.
Let's see.
Probably 8 o'clock.
Yeah, so 7 o'clock Central, so I'm guessing 6 o'clock open time.
Maybe. Jeff Passan, Rangers are acquiring catcher Austin Hedges. They have officially, I think, won the deadline with another move. Jordan Montgomery, Chris Stratton, Max Scherzer, and Austin Hedges.
The teams that tend to win the deadline are the teams that make the biggest moves, but the teams that need to make the biggest moves are the teams. You only make those kind of moves if you really put yourself in position to be a world championship contender.
That is exactly what they're doing.
That's why I didn't think, for example, the Brewers were going to be in position to make any monster moves. I mean, they could have gotten Shohei Ohtani. They still would not have been the favorite out of the National League to get to the World Series.
Yeah. Brewers officially have Andrew Chafin.
Oh, major mustache game from him.
Yeah.
Close to Raleigh Fingers like. Very Pete Vukovich-like.
Michael Lorenzen talking about the Phillies. The Phillies are a good team, really good team. I played with quite a few of them when I was younger, so it'll be fun to play with them again. It's going to be exciting, good atmosphere, good city. Yeah, I'm excited for the opportunity.
That's according to
Jason Beck
/ Todd Zalecki, New Berlin's own Todd Zalecki.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep.
And Craig Counsell on the Brewers acquisitions at the deadline. I think we added 3 very solid major league players that all address places we could upgrade. I think on the team, and still, especially like offensively, I think it leaves us. Leave us some flexibility.
Counsell loves to have a lot of players who can play a lot of different positions and have a lot of different offensive skills, any one of which can be utilized at any one time.
Yeah, that's per Sophia Minter, by the way.
Yep.
90 minutes.
90 minutes at most stadiums, as it is at Wrigley. Excellent. Baltimore is 60 minutes as an example. Which is weird.
I can deal with it, though.
Yeah.
That seems about it right now. As we are looking at about 27 minutes until the deadline, actually 26 in about 6 seconds.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you need me to fill 26 minutes of time by seeing like Broadway songs?
No, thank you.
No, I didn't think so.
I mean, we're just gonna kind of be here waiting for the deadline to, bring something notable.
let's see. Interesting selection by that ESPN reporter to have the LP of Enter the Wu-Tang.
That's Jeff Fasson.
Jeff Fasson, yes. I don't watch as much ESPN as I used to, so I don't get as much of a chance to recognize who each of the individual reporters
I thought you know just based off his Twitter profile picture.
The Twitter profile pictures are so puny.
That's true.
You can't see them. And thanks for calling it Twitter and not what they're trying to brand it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Baltimore's supposed to be 60, but no spoilers to my Baltimore bid. They may or may not have opened.
Excellent.
John says LOL.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, chat thoughts. Just any thoughts here. Bam should get traded in the next 25 minutes. Come to Milwaukee, Tommy.
Please.
Just add like a 29th outfielder. I mean that'd be a 5th outfielder for us. Plus Garrett Mitchell when he's healthy. Oh, and the Brewers have officially hired Melanie Ricks as their sideline reporter.
Excellent pick.
No idea who that is, but okay.
She used to be the in-arena host, like during timeouts.
Oh, that lady?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I like her a lot. Yeah, she's cool.
She also does morning shows on 101.7 The Truth back in Milwaukee.
Oh, really? That's cool.
And by the way, I didn't know you had a Twitter account.
Oh, I made it for the trade deadline, and then I logged out of it.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I did.
Uh-oh. Dangerous.
And since I already know, I have to apologize to Aaron about Lorenzen.
We will be nice to Lorenzen here in Philly. The two of us will be nice to Lorenzen here in Philly. I will not speak for the Philly captain or any other Philadelphia resident.
If it's a Philly person, then of course you're going to be nice to him. And once he plays bad.
Well, that's the thing. They boo.
But he's a good player. He's not going to be bad.
We don't think he will. If he has a bad night, they'll boo.
He's a really good player.
They booed Mike Schmidt.
Yeah, that's a good point.
They boo Hall of Famers in this town.
They never booed the Philly fanatic.
I would not be shocked if they booed the Philly fanatic in the past.
Anyone who's booed the Philly fanatic needs to be kicked out of the city. Disgrace.
Yeah. Well, let's see.
I mean, why not? Though he's good. He's good. He'll have to pull up the Aaron Nola quote. It's Nola Day. Watch out.
In Philadelphia, if they lift the championship trophy, there will be boos. Only because it's Philadelphia and it's a joke that they'll just boo. Just because it's what they do. And then they'll be cheering. But there will be boos.
They don't stick around. That's serious.
I know. But it's the city of booze.
That's true. It's the city of brotherly love and sisterly affection.
Supposedly. Yeah. I need to get some, I mean, that's a bright sunshine through there.
I know, isn't it?
I know. Sorry about that.
No, you're fine. Doesn't bug me.
All right.
Okay.
Lorenzen has saved you from Aaron Nola Day, Nick.
Nick does not like Aaron Nola.
Oh.
Because he's kind of bad.
You like Aaron Nola because we're 2 degrees of Kevin Bacon away from him.
Yeah.
That's about it.
Yeah, Kevin Bacon's dad was the city planner of Philadelphia.
I believe that.
Yeah.
I believe that. Uh-oh.
The weather out is oh so nice, so get a cup of water ice. Woo! My favorite player's name is Bryce because he likes my water ice.
I've not yet had Philadelphia water ice.
It's pretty good. It's not Rita's, but it's good. What's another? It's gorgeous out. It feels like June. Buy some water ice and get a free spoon.
Value of that spoon is probably a cent.
That's more than 0 cents.
So we'll see. Yeah. Yes, Aiden, Rita's is greater than
Everything that has ice after it.
But not Cap's frozen custard.
Not most frozen custard. I just love frozen custard most over anything.
When we get to the Jersey Shore, we're going to have to find the place that originated frozen custard because it originated on the Jersey Shore.
Yeah.
We're going to have to find that and see if it outdoes the Milwaukee-based ones.
Yeah.
But in Philly, you don't go for frozen custard. You go for ice.
Yeah. Or in Rita's case, Italian ice.
Yes.
Yeah, that's about it.
Anything new?
I'm refreshing just to make sure that there's just. Oh yeah, Mr. Salty over everything.
Excellent.
Love Mr. Salty.
Man, do we automatically discuss food when I show up?
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, jeez.
Phillies lineup: Schwarber, Bohm, Harper, Castellanos, Stott, Turner, Marsh, Stubbs, Rojas, Ranger Suarez on the mound. That's according to John Clark and Todd Select.
Return.
I don't know what that means. I think that's just Ken Rosenthal talking to other reporters.
No, it's a little. No, he's talking to himself because he's attaching another tweet to the news that he initially had.
Yeah, no idea.
It's the Austin Hedges trade.
Yeah, returners international signing bonus for space.
So that's not exactly like huge return on investment immediately.
Yeah.
So that hopefully for the Pirates will turn out to be something long term.
Hopefully not.
Well,
they're competing with
hopefully
us.
For the Pirates.
Yeah, sure.
But it's a long term investment.
Yeah. So not really much happening.
Yeah, the big stuff might happen in the next 20 minutes when where there's final deals that could be announced, but
yeah,
it's rare. It's rare.
You usually get like one kind of non-big.
Looking at Tim Kirchin and looking at that old Astros logo with the Astrodome behind it, as we're talking about the return of Justin Verlander, I gotta say, I love that old Astrodome logo.
You know what's so Tim Kirchin actually recently said something I thought was interesting. Nolan Arenado's the best defensive third baseman this side of Brooks Robinson.
Ooh, ahead of Greg Nettles? Wow. I talked about Greg Nettles.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Go watch films of the 1977 and 1978 World Series.
I won't do that.
Well, if you did, you would see some of the most ridiculous third base play that you would ever see. And the man absolutely reinvented how third base is played in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Because back in the day, third baseman to try and cut off like hot shots would try and step forward in order to snag line drives. He's like, I'm faster than cutting down the angle. My legs are faster. So I'll drop back and I'll get more. And he did. And he was a defensive wizard. Gold Glove. Let me look up how many times.
Yeah. So as soon as you do that, I think that. Javier Candelario is playing for space tonight for the Cubs in his first game back with the Scrubbies. So yeah.
22 years in baseball. I actually had 2 Gold Gloves. They were the championship years.
Yeah.
6-time All-Star.
So I think I'm just gonna play some music for a couple minutes and then we'll be back. I'll be pleased.
He's done a really good job of DJing during breaks. People.
You don't even know what music has been playing.
I've caught it a couple times.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So, yeah, we will see you in. Let's quote Pat McAfee. Take 5. Okay, everyone. Well,
All
we're
right.
back.
Nothing has happened in the last 4 minutes.
Yeah, essentially.
Yeah.
There's one new thing. Let's see what it is.
Yep, we're not done yet.
Mets in active trade negotiations on multiple players. We already kind of knew about Tommy Pham and Brooks Raley, but Adam Ottavino also there. Tommy Pham could go to the Phillies, could go to the. I mean, I love to see him on the Brewers because I just like Tommy Pham.
According to John Morosi.
Yes, from the where?
Northern Michigan there.
Yeah, UP.
Yeah.
So yeah, Ottavino. Maybe I could see that. Maybe. It would be interesting. So yeah, Mets fire sale, right? Like at this point, just get rid of Pete Alonso with only like 2 years.
Throw in the Tom Seaver statue.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Trade him to Cincinnati.
Yeah. So that's about it from now. I guess we'll just go ahead and talk about the playoffs. Since this is the deadline, starting with the National League. So my predictions for the playoffs is we're gonna have the Braves at 1, the Dodgers at 2, the Brewers at 3, Phillies 4, Reds 5, and Diamondbacks 6. So from there we go into the AL. I've got O's 1, Rangers 2, 3 I'll go Twins, 4 Rays, 5 Astros, 6 I need to think about. Blue Jays.
If I had to guess the World Series now, I would make the guess that it's an I-20 World Series.
It could be. It's either going to be I-20 or does I-95 go through Atlanta?
No.
Okay, well, I-95 to whatever connects that.
Yeah, 85. 85.
Yeah,
So.
yeah, I'm thinking of Baltimore and Atlanta.
Right, that makes total sense.
Yeah.
I mean, that's very possible by far, too.
Yeah.
That would be which Amtrak line?
I actually was talking about trains earlier. I was talking about how I would hope that Eloy Jimenez would. Dodgers talking to the Red Sox about James Paxton still outside chance for Eduardo Rodriguez, who would need to reverse his no trade clause that said he doesn't want to go to the Dodgers. But yeah, so as I was.
Does any of that change? I mean, even if they get all those guys, does that put them ahead of Atlanta? I don't think so.
No. Nick's mad. He said he would. He said if Phillies don't get a bat, he'd riot. And he wanted Tommy Pham. Yeah, Nick, you're right. Tommy Pham is heading to the desert. The Diamondbacks trying to make a move to stay in this playoffs as the NL is stacked. This is interesting. Alden Gonzalez from ESPN says the Orioles aren't going to do this again, right?
Which means what?
Last year they were major sellers at the deadline, but they're not going to sell. So
why would they sell?
Yeah, I don't think they're going to sell. So I don't really know what's happening there. But
and why is Nick the Legend going to Miami?
He said he'd ride if the Phillies don't get a bat. He said he would go to Miami to ride because that's what the Phillies are playing right now.
Okay, I see what you mean.
Orioles are close to getting Jack Flaherty from the Cardinals. That is big.
Ooh.
If they get Jack Flaherty, I'm putting them ahead of the Rangers as the favorites.
I would agree.
So I guess we can talk about the playoffs. So I guess we'll start wild card in out. Phillies, and this is based on my predictions. We have the Brewers against the Diamondbacks. So I've got the Brewers all 3 games in Milwaukee. Give me the Brewers.
I would concur.
It goes through.
Pham might make it a little bit more interesting, but yes, I concur.
Yeah, okay. Then Phillies, Reds, all 3 games in Philadelphia. We're talking about the Fightins.
Yeah.
The Fightins.
Yep.
Said. That's my best impersonation of Fightins guy.
Nice.
Okay, so then Phillies are in it, have to go against Braves.
There will not be the magic of 2022.
Sadly,
I
Nick,
love
I'm
saying
sorry.
that. I
I'm
love
sorry.
saying that, but it's accurate.
And then Brewers, LA wins.
I would
7.
I would predict LA in 7, but
LA in 5.
Brewers-
My bad. LA in 5.
if the that's true. If the Brewers pitching staff is at full capacity, full health, that's a very winnable series
Yeah.
for the Brewers.
No,
I take LA, but it's very winnable.
I'd say Braves in 4, LA in 5.
Makes sense.
Actually, no, Braves in 5, because that would mean that they'd be clinching in Philly, which won't happen.
Right. You know what? It could.
It could.
It could.
So AL, we're talking about the 3 and the 6 with Twins against the Astros. I got the Astros in that one. As much as I hate to say it.
Playoff experience.
Yeah. And then the 4-5 Rays against the Blue Jays. That's a really good series.
Yeah.
AL East. Give me the Rays though. Home field.
Yeah, agreed.
Not much home field with Trump, but you still know what I mean. Okay, so we're talking about the Astros playing the Rangers. Rangers are going to win that in
Please.
5 games.
Please do that. Please.
And then other series would be O's Rays.
Oh, by far, Baltimore.
Yeah, close though. The Rays took a series from Baltimore recently, but I think the O's take it.
Oh, with Jack Flaherty, yeah. O's have that before.
Yeah, okay, so then ALCS, O's, Rangers. I got the Orioles with home field advantage in 7. Camden Yards rocking. Game 7. Jack Flaherty on the mound. They win.
If they get Flaherty, and Nick the Legend just made a statement, we'll have to see whether that confirmation is accurate, but I trust Nick.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. If that is accurate, then yes, absolutely.
Yeah, they
just got themselves. I think they just got themselves a World Series.
Yeah. Okay. NLCS, Braves, Dodgers, Braves in 5.
Absolutely.
Braves, Orioles, World Series, Braves in 6.
Yep. Boom.
Braves in 6 because I don't think the Orioles are pushing that to 6. Braves clinch at home.
Yeah, I'd agree with you.
So, yeah. And Nightingale as well. Okay, Olin Gonzalez replied to himself saying,
they're not selling.
They're not doing what they did last year.
They're not selling.
I like the tweet though. The first one, that was kind of funny.
Nice.
Part of me, because when I said we were going to go until 6:30, part of me is like, if we're getting to 6:30, how about we just go 6 hours and do the whole Brewers game?
Oh my
but I'm like,
God.
no.
You won't have a voice for a week.
I think I haven't screamed much. I mean, I do have a little bit of a freaky voice, but
Man.
yeah, I was tempted to, but I don't think I'm gonna do as much as I would. That'd be fun, but nah.
Yeah.
So yeah, 6 minutes until the deadline. Just kind of waiting on anything at this point.
I think every single trade tweet we're going to see now is probably going to be about Flaherty.
I have to show you Eric Pratt's tweet. So funny. Hold on. So this was responding to the Brewers getting Schaefer.
Former Brewer, by the way, so
Yes.
keep that in context.
Where is it? Oh, I have to probably go to replies.
Did he delete the things?
No,
Okay.
he replied to someone. That this was his response to Ken Rosenthal.
Oh, yes, The Office. The Office.
Said, I love it. I love it.
Philadelphia metro area native, by the way, Eric Kratz.
Oh, yeah, sure. I thought you were going to say Michael Scott or actually Steve Carroll. But yeah.
No, it's true.
I don't even know. All I know is that the company was based in Scranton, supposedly. Scranton branch, even though it's filmed in LA. And
Nice.
yeah, this is what's going on right now. It's
Just wait a few more minutes for the final deadline to come.
yeah, it's 5:56.
How crazy would it be that we will have gone, if the Orioles go, we will have seen a World Series team in their home stadium back-to-back years. Philadelphia, Baltimore.
Sure.
Watch for that coming up. At some point after I have a whole boatload of licensing stuff that I have to do for my new job. I can't say what it is yet publicly, But once I get done with that, I think I can maybe be in position to edit more of our vlogs from our game experiences and other stuff.
Yeah.
So that will include, just like Aiden, Tempesta, some Baltimore stuff.
Yeah. Right now they're talking about Ellie De La Cruz on ESPN. What a beast he is.
That guy
It's not
could
fair.
revolutionize baseball.
It's just not fair.
He could bring an entire level of speed demoning into the game. The capability to beat out. Thank you, Happy Hodad. The capability to beat out.
Oh!
Hello.
The Yankees, the final team who had not made a move all deadline, finally get their guy. We knew he was going to be on the move, but Kenyon Middleton, well, he's going to take the red line up to Union Station in Chicago, and then he is headed east to the Bronx because, well, the White Sox just traded reliever Kenyon Middleton to the Yankees.
According to
Jeff Passan.
And of course, that means that he's not going to go to the playoffs because they're in a ridiculously loaded division.
Yeah, I mean, the Yankees are last place. Yankees last place in the division. 30 years since they were last place.
I was actually alive to watch that. I was alive to see when that happened. Early 90s.
Yeah. Here, I'll link your new one because these need to charge. Not like anyone's on the stream or anything. It doesn't make any difference.
Just Odag and Nick, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I think Tony Voda is currently coming back from work.
Excellent.
That's why I think he left. Oh my goodness. The Phillies are closing in on a trade. The Phillies are closing in on a trade.
According
the
to
Phillies
Jason
are
Stark.
closing on Bailey Falter for Rodolfo Castro. Let's see who Rodolfo Castro
Bailey
is.
Falter.
Yeah, Bailey Falter. He pitched in the World Series.
That's a name. I just think it's cool just because of the name.
Let's see if Rodolfo Castro is any good. He's a major league player. He's an infielder. Second baseman, shortstop, third baseman. 228 average. Below. Yeah. He's not good.
I'm tempted to call him Rudy, but you shouldn't.
OP, yeah, he's a below average player. So, don't know why the Phillies did that. I think Nick's mad. That's why I didn't say anything. I mean, Bailey Falter isn't the greatest of all time, but you know.
Yeah, we're seeing more of the Middleton stuff coming
Yeah.
across.
Not Chris.
Nope, thankfully.
Although the Bucks have, they have all 15 of their guys, so that's interesting.
Chris Middleton could be a ridiculously dominant pitcher, like a Randy Johnson type, just because of his height.
What do you think Giannis will play?
No, he'd be a pitcher. Anyone with height could be such a ridiculously dominant pitcher, and with the arm extension, you would have such weird, hard to hit pitching angles.
Nightingale bomb that Dylan's staying in Chicago. He will not be traded as we have officially hit the 6 o'clock trade deadline. Trades are closed. It's over.
It is over.
So we'll stay here for like 5 minutes.
Now, because there could be trades that have now been agreed to, but where the processing is still happening, they have to get word through Major League Baseball.
Speaking
all that other type of
processing,
stuff.
The Cardinals will be getting Cesar Prieto and Drew Rom from the Orioles in the trade for Flair.
Rob
Thompson.
I said Rob, not
Oh,
Rob.
I thought, yeah, but Rob Thompson's still better than whoever that is. So, yeah, that's about it. It's been a good deadline. Not much has happened though.
And they just changed programs on the 4-letter network.
They
and now
just
they're just going
changed-
right back to the same desk.
Yeah, we just wanted. There's actually baseball tonight for once on a weeknight. I love it. I like baseball tonight.
That's what I missed that from back in the 90s. That was so.
I
cool.
wish baseball tonight was on every day.
It was back in the day.
Because I would watch it every day.
It was back in the day.
I love that crew. Tim Kirkjian, Sam Kirkjian, Eduardo Perez, and Carl Ravitch and Buster Olney in studio.
And I remember when Nigel Morgan gave me that word of advice when he said, "Ah."
And on that note, we're out. See everybody.
Dad joke. See everyone.